everyone, and welcome to Maths Week Scotland. My name is Dr. Alan Walker, and I'm a senior lecturer at the University of the West of Scotland. Now, we're here today to try and talk about maths in the workplace. Now, I'm not going to tell you about my normal job as a mathematician and a lecturer. I teach maths. I'm going to tell you about my previous job working for Morgan Stanley in international finance. It's a little bit more exciting than just talking about teaching. So what was my role with Morgan Stanley? Well, let's put it in the context of a school tuck shop. Okay? Imagine that there are 3 people running the school sweet shop. There's me, Alan, there's Ganita, and there's Sugaku. Now, we all run the school sweet shop, so at break time, we sell crisps and Mars bars and what have you, and then we collect all the money and then we take it to the teacher at the end of the day and say, okay, here's what we've sold and here's how much money we've got. Now, Sugaku does the selling. She sells the sweets, and in her jotter, she records everything that she's sold and how many items that she's sold and for how much she has sold. Ganita, she's got her jotter and she makes a separate recording of each of the sale, because that jotter is going to go to the teacher so that the teacher can see how much we've sold at the end of each day. Now, my job is to make sure that what Sugaku has written down and what Ganita has written down is the same. And if it's not the same, my job is to investigate why, what's went wrong. Okay? So, little example. Let's say that Sugaku sells 2 packets of crisps at 50 pence each. So we need to work out how much money we should have there. So that's 2 lots of crisps. So what does that mean in math? Well, 2 lots of is 2 times, isn't it? So that's 2 times 50 pence. Okay? So we either do that in our head or we use our calculators if we're not great at maths. Or we do a little column sum and we work out that that is £1 and 0 pence. Now, Ganita should do the exact same sum, but what happens if Ganita's made a mistake? What happens if she actually thinks that the price of the crisps is not 50 pence, but is in fact 60 pence? Then Ganita's going to do her own separate sum in her jotter, and she's going to work out 2 times 60 pence is £1 and 20 pence. Now remember, Ganita's jotter is the jotter which is going to go to the teacher, and the teacher is therefore going to expect Sugaku to have £1.20 in the tuck shop till. So before it goes to the teacher, Alan has to look at the 2 calculations and work out to see if there's a difference. And if there is a difference, then there's a little problem. So, how do we work out a difference in mathematics? Well, a difference is a takeaway, isn't it? It's a minus. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Ganita. She said 2 times 60 pence at £1. That gave us £1 and 20 pence. Sugaku said 2 times 50 pence, so that's £1. So Alan comes along at the end of the day and he makes the difference. So he works out the difference. So we take £1 and no pence away from the £1 and 20 pence, and Alan notices, oh, hold on here, there's a difference of 20 pence, we've got an issue. So my job would then be to say, okay, has one person made a mistake? Has one person made 2 mistakes, or has more than one person made a mistake? Or are there no genuine mistakes that someone's stealing from the till? That was my job at Morgan Stanley. Now, sometimes the difference might be so small that actually we don't care. You know, if at the end of the day the difference was 2 pence, we'd go, you know what, that's fine, we can lose 2 pence. The difference of 20 pence, that's a big problem. So that's an example of what I did put in relation to a school sweet shop. Let's give you an example of one problem which actually turned up for me one day at Morgan Stanley. So the person selling the sweets, let's call them the trader. And instead of sweets, we're now selling shares. And this trader sold 500,000 shares, and each share cost 45 pence a share. Okay, so that's 500,000 lots of 45 pence. So they would be multiplying 500,000 by 45 pence. The bookkeeper, the person writing down in their jotter to show the teacher, it was late on a Friday afternoon, she was tired, she wanted to go out and play. She had written down, okay, 500,000 shares, and then instead of writing down 45 pence, had written down 500,000 again. Which means that the bookkeeper had in her jotter 500,000 lots of 500,000. Now, some of you might be trying to work that out in your heads, but my job there was to work out the difference, and the difference was 249,999,775,000 pounds, which was a bit of an issue, and therefore we had to investigate and find out who had made the mistake. And of course here the bookkeeper had made the mistake by writing down that each share was 500,000 pounds a share. Now imagine that was just one trade which had been done. My job was to look at hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of these trades around the world every day, and make sure that there was no difference between what the trader, the seller, had done and what the bookkeeper, the person writing down in their jotter, had done. And that was maths in my everyday life at Morgan Stanley. Thanks, everyone.